so and so. Yeah, it went off. The camera went off again. Damn. Okay, I'm now milling out the recess inside the header tank, and of course because the outside shape of the tank is got two angles on each side, I have to place the tank in the vise on those flat angles and mill from the center out towards the end. I've got a stop on the table, which is here, so that when I finish this side I can then take it out, turn it round and put it in, and just come up against the stop, and I've still got my settings on the x-axis. I'm using a 1/8 ball nose. It's a carbide, and it's a 4 flute, and so I have to go fairly deep, so I haven't got an awful lot of shank in the collet, so I have to take fairly light cuts, but that doesn't matter, I've got plenty of time. So anyway, I'll just hold this up in front of the camera and see. Hope you can see the cutter. That's the kind of cutter that I'm using. The flutes are only about 1/4 of an inch deep, so I have to go down in steps and then mill out sideways and then go down further. So I've got the machine running. I have no idea, probably a couple of thousand RPM. I have no idea, I've got no tachometer on it. So I'll start it up now, and I'll start machining. I'll start machining so that you can see what I'm actually doing. See if I can get in a bit closer. Is that better? It's a bit better. What I'll do is I'll do some machining, and then I'll switch off, and then I'll show you the final results in another video. Thank you. I'm just going to touch on the side, and then I'll check my index, my dial, and then I'll know what the setting is for continuing to go deeper. I've got the tank, the header tank. I have it clamped very near, only about maybe 1/8 of an inch or a bit more in the vise. And the reason for that is that as I start to go deeper, it doesn't squeeze the sides in. So it's clamping on solid stuff and not going to squeeze the sides in, because they're very thin. You'll see that. Okay, I've got a setting now. I'm going to leave it at that. And let's see, we're at I'll go in at 15. So I'll write that down. I'll remember it anyway. As usual, I'm not organised, So okay, I'm just going to go across now and mill the other side. Just got to remember that figure 15. The cutter is sticking out quite a way, so I'm sure there's quite a flex on there. That's one of the reasons I can't take a big cut. Plus, I don't want to have the job fly out of the vise and scrap it after all the work I've done on it. So a little bit at a time, and you get there eventually. So I'll just finish off this side, and then I'll switch the camera off, and I'll continue later, and maybe I'll do another one just before I get to the depth that is required. I had a Taiwanese bench mill. I bought it back in 70s, around about 78 I guess, and it was called a baby mill at that time, and I had it for about 30, at least 30 years. I just sold it recently, and I was a little bit reluctant to sell off my larger machine because I was trying to get prepared for maybe apartment dwelling or something like that. So I'd had this machinery for a long time, and you get attached to it, and so I was a bit reluctant. I was a bit worried about what I was doing, but I have to say that I love this little mill. I love the lathe. I'm really quite impressed with the product that it can produce for such a small machine. It's quite sturdy. I was a little bit worried about aluminium being used instead of cast iron, but I have to say that I like it very much. It's small enough for me to pick up and move out, whereas my milling machine, although they called it a baby mill, it was quite a hefty little thing, and I got it from Busy Bee when they were still in Vancouver. The lathe, I had a Drum and M type, a 1947 Drum and M type, and I was the second owner of that, and that's really a nice lathe with a lot of nice features that go with it. So I got rid of that as well. So I'm in the meantime, I'm very happy I made the decision. I've always preferred, I worked at the Cancer Research Centre in Winnipeg, and I've always liked working on small intricate stuff. We worked for the physics department there, so the small stuff really interests me. I prefer small stuff to large, heavy, chunky stuff, including models and tooling. So that's always been my working life has been in progression dies, small electronic thermostatic control, progression dies for 20-30 years, and then into physics, working with beautiful machinery such as Sealion F3s and hard-inch HLVHs, that kind of equipment. So the small stuff, the intricate stuff interests me more than the hefty welding stuff together and stuff like that. So I'm talking, but I'm not working. So I'm going to call off now because I have to clear the cuttings, and I'll continue later. Thank you.